They told me to cut down my grandfather's oak tree or pay $500 a week in fines. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. I just looked at that 100-year-old oak, its roots buried deep in Texas soil, and I smiled. Because roots always remember. My name is Daniel Carter, and I live in a small Texas suburb just outside San Antonio. The centerpiece of my backyard isn't the house, or the fence, or the grill. It's a sprawling oak tree my grandfather planted in 1925. He dug the hole by hand, dropped in a tiny sapling, and told my grandmother, "This tree will see more than we ever will."
And it did.
My father grew up climbing it, carving initials into its bark. I grew up swinging from its lowest branch. Every summer, my family gathered under its shade for barbecues, birthdays, and lazy Sunday afternoons. That oak wasn't just a tree. It was history. It was family. It was a monument to everything we'd built on that land. So when a letter from the HOA arrived, demanding I cut it down, I felt something inside me snap. The letter called my oak tree an eyesore and a hazard to neighborhood aesthetics. According to them, its branches stretched too far, its roots too wide, and its shade blocked uniform landscaping. Translation? HOA President Susan Whitmore, our very own Karen, didn't like how the oak shaded the view of her brand new pool deck 2 houses down. I walked to her doorstep with the letter in hand. She greeted me in tennis whites, sunglasses perched on her nose. "Rules are rules," she chirped. "That tree's coming down." I explained, politely at first, that the oak was on my property, protected by a city heritage tree ordinance. Her smile thinned. "The HOA overrides city ordinances," she snapped. "You have 30 days, or we start fining you." 30 days. To erase a century of history. When I refused, the fines began. $500 a week. Threats of liens against my home. Letters stuffed into my mailbox at midnight. The war had begun. I knew fighting fines alone wouldn't work. The HOA had lawyers, city council friends, and a hunger for control. But Pops used to say, if you want to win, don't fight where they're strong. Fight where they're weak. So I started watching. I noticed construction crews working near Susan's yard. She wasn't just building a pool, she was building a massive community aquatic center the HOA planned to profit from. And all that shiny concrete needed drainage. After a summer rain, I followed the runoff. The water pooled against my fence, spilling into my yard. Curious, I grabbed a flashlight and traced the underground PVC pipes. My jaw dropped. They'd rerouted storm drains illegally, straight through my property line. Every time it rained, Susan's pool overflowed into my land, flooding the base of my oak. She wasn't just threatening my tree.
She was poisoning it.
And that's when I decided, if water was their weapon, water would also be their downfall. I documented everything, photos, videos, water samples. But paperwork only scared honest people, and the HOA wasn't honest. So I called my cousin, an environmental engineer. Over a 6-pack of Lone Stars at my kitchen table, he confirmed what I suspected. Those drains violated city codes and the Clean Water Act. Legally, you could sue them into the ground, he said. But lawsuits take years. I didn't have years. My oak's roots were already soaking in chlorinated runoff. So, we drew up another plan. A trench. A carefully dug channel, redirecting all that overflow, not into my yard, not into my oak, but straight into the natural creek behind Susan's property. And, because it was the creek's original watershed, it was perfectly legal. All I had to do was wait for the rain. Texas skies don't play fair. When storms come, they come hard. One July afternoon, thunder cracked like artillery. Rain hammered rooftops, gutters overflowed, and Susan's brand new aquatic center filled like a bathtub. I stood on my porch, watching the trench do its work. At first, just a trickle, then a stream, then a roaring rush as thousands of gallons sought the lowest point, the creek. But here's the thing about shortcuts and cheap engineering. When you dump that much water, the soil doesn't ask questions. It just gives way. Within minutes, the HOA's sparkling new pool deck began to sink. Tiles cracked. Fences bent. The water that should have been contained spilled downhill, dragging patio chairs, umbrellas, and freshly planted shrubs into the creek. From my porch, I saw Susan storm outside, screaming orders at construction crews, mascara running in the rain. But nature doesn't take orders. By dawn, the damage was irreversible. Half the pool deck collapsed into the mud. The HOA's grand opening was canceled. Local news showed Susan in tears, blaming unforeseen drainage issues. But my cousin's report and my photos told a different story. Illegal drains, code violations, chlorine runoff killing natural habitats. The city fined the HOA tens of thousands of dollars. Insurance refused coverage. Susan's personal role in approving the project came to light. Homeowners, furious about their rising dues, voted her out within weeks. The mighty HOA, once unstoppable, crumbled overnight. And the oak? It stood tall, roots drinking deep from clean rainwater, branches stretching proudly against the Texas sky. Neighbors began bringing kids to play beneath it, just like I once did. Some even helped me build a wooden bench around its trunk, a new community gathering spot. Susan sold her house quietly. Last I heard, she moved to Florida. But the oak remains, stronger than ever, a reminder that sometimes the best revenge doesn't come from shouting or lawsuits. It comes from letting nature take its course. And from remembering that roots, just like families, always fight back.